Hi guys, Dreams of Violets here. Lately I've been really inspired by watching a lot of videos, just seeing people's dolls and hearing their backstories and all that stuff has been really inspiring. So I kind of wanted to share a little bit more of one part of my backstory, the fact that imagination is an actual place, an actual alternate universe that all my normal universes break off of. Imagination, I just want to tell you about it. Like I said, it's another dimension, and your soul can travel there without your body. It's the reason that humans have a glazed look in their eye when they're daydreaming, when they're imagining. Really, it's basically at that time your body is an empty shell. Your soul has traveled to imagination, and it travels mostly when you are asleep. Children, however, some adults too, but mostly children can travel to imagination, their whole bodies through portals or just their spirits. So I want to talk about some of the creatures that inhabit imagination, because there's sort of two types. There's the type of creatures that just exist in imagination. That's where they live, and they have nothing to do unless they want to, but they don't really have to have anything to do with the human worlds. And then there's other ones whose whole sort of identity, job, whatever their breed, whatever they are, I don't know what you would call that, is based on their interaction with humans. So I want to start with it's just a head. And I want to complain about something really quick too. It's my Little Fee Chiwu vampire elf head, which was a event head with the first doll I ever purchased. So when I was super new and didn't realize how hard it would be to just find a Little Fee body with a head back. I cannot find them ever. I can find Pookie Fee bodies all the time on the marketplace, but Little Fee bodies, I just never see them. I'm hoping one day miraculously I'll find one and that will be that. But so here he is, and it's a vampire sculpt, and I have plans for about 5 I know, crazy, 5 other vampire sculpts, but they are not vampires. I haven't completely decided on the name, like what they're called, but basically they are architects of nightmares. So they draft them, like they have notepads and they draft your nightmares. And he is going to be assigned to a doll I don't have. And he gives this little boy nightmares, and the little boy is really traumatized by them, and he decides to just, go see how his work is doing. He wants to know if he's doing his job right and everything, and he finds out that he's sort of tormenting this little boy, and he feels horrible about it and makes friends with the little boy. And then the other group that I'm going to have, who love their job and love making nightmares, sort of, turn on him and try to give him nightmares and things. So that's his storyline. I don't know what to call them. I was going to call them dark architects, but I'm a black woman, I hate when dark is associated with negative. I hate it. So I'm trying to think of something else. Next, I'll talk about, first let me say, I got some suggestions for a name for this little girl, and I kind of, in between the time of getting the names, had thought I was going to name her either Stella or Estrella for star. And I really was like, oh, her name's Estrella. And then I got the two recommendations, and one of them was it. That was her name, and so her name is Penelope. I can't remember the name of the person, but I will put a link, and I will remember to put a link. So thank you, the person who named Penelope Penelope. That is definitely her name. She is sort of the opposite of the nightmare architects. She is a dream weaver. So I'm just sort of now been trying to look and find a miniature spinning needle for her as her like main prop, because she weaves dreams. So yeah, that's Penelope. She's got a lot of work. She needs a lot of work, obviously, but yeah. I'm missing one of my dolls. I just realized. I'll talk about one more and then I'll move on. This julep, who needs new string badly, which I think I'm gonna order tomorrow when I order a new doll, is a figment. She only comes alive when somebody imagines her up. And she is the figment of my BID Ezrulia from Eiffel House, who has had a traumatic experience. My BID Lydia, that's her character name, Lydia, has had a traumatic experience. She's in foster care. She's not really talking to anybody. She's scared and alone. She already was shy and quiet to start with, and then this trauma. Her mother was mugged right in front of her, and her mother told her to run, and she did, but not far. So she kind of saw everything that happened, and they took her mother, and her mother has been missing ever since. So one night she's at her foster family, which they treat her fantastically, but she's still, alone and everything, and she's constantly is talking to her imaginary friend, her figment of her imagination, dreaming her up. And then one night she wishes on a star, and figment comes and decides to take her on journeys. Her full foot is like backwards. I don't know what's going on. Takes her on adventures and journeys, and is sort of the exact opposite of personality. She's loud and look at me and let's try this, and just sort of really helps her through this traumatic experience, sort of come to terms with it and start living life again. So there she is. And that's why I have her sitting here, because it's her figment. Like, all my dolls are falling apart right now. I don't know what's going on. Like, what is your joint doing and your butt? And your wig, which lately has been causing issues. Yeah, it's her figment. So here's the thing. I plan on 2 more sort of USD sized dolls, which means, because in my story, all my kids have a figment of their own, which can look any sort of different thing, however they imagine them. So those 2 dolls, I'm at least gonna have 2 more. Actually, I need another figment also, because my IMDA 3.0 is going to have a figment also. So that was that. Okay, I will be pausing. Here's my Zoom. I don't really know how to pronounce it. It was the Alk, A-L-K, and Y-U-R-I, I think, sculpt, whatever, however you pronounce that. Um, and his name is Damaris. No, her name is Damaris. His name is Gallifrey. his and his name is Gallifrey. And he is um, a his mother was a phoenix, yeah, and his father was a nightingale. So he's a phoenix nightingale hybrid. I did like actual research for my next two characters. Like I looked up stuff on lore on phoenix, and I looked up stuff on the nightingales, and then my other one, which is the unicorn girl, I looked up stuff on unicorns. So, and then sort of filtered through to what I wanted. So his colors are going to be purple, blue, green, silver, and gold. I bought a wig for him that was too big, but his hair is, I hope to one day have purple, blue, and green wig with, I would like to have some feathers in it and have it looking sort of like feathered, like a sort of a swoop type thing. His talons on his feet are going to be silver, and his wings are going to be purple, green, and gold. But this is like, I'm not even planning that this year. That's like a ways off. I have to research who I think would do a great job. Yeah, I could go on and on. But okay, so his nightingale traits are he's a poet and he's a balladeer, and he plays tons of instruments. He plays like the harp and the flute and some percussion things and just all sorts of things. His phoenix traits are he does regenerate out of his ashes, so he doesn't really know how old he is because he starts counting fresh from when he rejuvenates. But because he's not a true phoenix, he's not immortal. One day he will turn into ash and not regenerate, but that won't happen for like hundreds of thousands of years. Is that it? Yeah, and basically he is Gallifrey is best friends with my character Damaris. And I actually have plans for like a whole outdoorsy diorama where she's like in a thicket under a tree, and then he's gonna have a nest in a tree. I'm still in my mind trying to work out how I'm gonna do it before I actually do it, but that's the plan. And then Damaris, my little girl Damaris, she's the last one. So she is my Soom Bela, who she kind of at one time was a Grail doll. I was in the hobby, but I didn't have dolls yet when she came out. I was just sort of first learning about Soom, and I was still very much in the learning phase when I saw the original thing, and I really wanted her. But she was already done with, but then they re-released her for like a Christmas, or I don't even remember when they re-released. It was when you could have gotten them in normal skin or gold. Yeah. I was still new. I'll just say that much. But I got her, and I got actually her and Gallifrey at the same time. And so here's the thing. Her name is Damaris. And eventually I would like her to look like a dappled gray horse. So this is the thing. She's a sacred beast. She's one of 4. Of the sacred beasts are unicorns, dragons, phoenix, and tortoise. So he's half of a sacred beast. And she's a full sacred beast. And unicorn symbol is the moon. So she's affected by the phases of the moon. If you're a human and you can see her, it's a sign of good fortune for you, like a good life. Not necessarily material fortune, but you will have good fortune. She is not to be tamed or try to be caged or kept. She can vanish in the middle of doing anything. She has a great sense of humor. She never bleh. No. She has a great sense of direction. It's impossible for her to get lost, and her great sense of direction, it means literally and emotionally. And she's very calm, and she has calming powers. She can make other people in her vicinity calm. She also has healing abilities. So unicorns, basically, if you get hurt in imagination, you would go to a unicorn because they have healing abilities. When I say she, I do mean her, but I mean all the unicorns in imagination have these traits. And she's able to detect poison. She's not a child in human terms. She's 147 years old, but unicorns live to be thousands of years old, so she's a unicorn of children. I ran out of room on my video, but as I was saying, I have gone so far with a lot of my characters to even write down what their like favorite foods and drinks and television shows and that type of stuff are, and so I have some of hers. Unicorns are vegetarians. Her favorite drink is morning dew. Her favorite food, orchids. What else? That's like it. So that is right now all of the creatures in imagination. The only other creature I would think about adding is a dragon of some sort, and that is it. But like there's something else I do have to talk about that's not true. Like I said, eventually, like a long time from now, I plan on there's quite a few vampire sculpts that I want, and one that's not even a vampire sculpt, but I would like it to be turned into one. And then one other thing I have plans for, once again, down the line. I have tons of characters, and so I eventually want to shell them. But apart from like the doll I am getting real soon, I want to focus on the ones I have for right now. So this is probably, most of these plans are probably next year, unless I suddenly come into a whole lot of money. But there's one other doll who I want that is sort of a mix of in between the human world and imagination, and that is a doll that is going to be a ghost, and specifically she's the ghost that there's a poem, and I cannot remember who by, but if I remember to look it up, I'll put it down at the bottom. The poem, The Wreck of the Hesperus, or if you've ever heard that saying, The Wreck of the Hesperus, meaning something is a mess. But there's a poem, The Wreck of the Hesperus, and it's about this little girl and her father. And in the poem, sorry, spoiler, the girl dies. The girl dies. So it's going to be the ghost of the Wreck of the Hesperus, and I'm going to name her Hesperus because she doesn't remember her names, and I want her to kind of have like clothes with like a wet spots looking on it. She's always going to look wet because she died in this horrible downpour on this boat. And basically in the human world, certain people have the affinity to sense ghosts, can sense her, but in imagination, anybody can see her. So that's my other few characters for the world of imagination. So that is my wrap up of imagination. I would like to eventually go into some of my other characters, not in imagination. I don't know if that'll happen anytime soon, because I really want to have more of them for you to view before I do that. But until later, thank you. Bye.